Let's get acquainted with Office and Excel a little bit. In this video, I'm using Excel for Web. If you're not already logged in, or if you want to start exactly where I am to follow along, go to office.com. When you are here, click Sign In. Log in with your credentials that you created in the previous video. Enter your username, click Next. Then enter your password. And I'm going to click Keep Me Signed In so I don't have to do this all the time. And there you go. In the middle, you can see all the apps you have access to. And there's Excel. You can click on this from here, but what I would suggest doing is going to OneDrive. OneDrive is where Microsoft saves all of your files online. By creating your Excel file in OneDrive, you'll be able to keep yourself a little more organized, a little more easily. This is OneDrive. It should look similar to Windows Explorer, the place where you keep files on your Windows PC, or maybe like Finder, which is the place you keep files on a Mac. I want to create this in a folder within my Documents file. Documents has kind of become the de facto highest level hierarchy for files you create with Microsoft Office. Click Documents. So now you can see that we're in the Documents folder based on these breadcrumbs here. We're in Files, Documents. Along the top, you'll see a menu of options. The only one we're going to use here is New, but the other ones are pretty self-explanatory. Click New. From the New button, you can create a new folder, Word doc, Excel doc, and other Microsoft Office documents. I want to create a folder. And I'm going to call this Easy Apartment Analysis. Click Create. And you can see we have a new folder here. This folder is where I'm going to keep files from this class. I'd suggest you do the same in your folder system so you can keep these files separate from other documents you may be working on. Let's open this folder. Now let's create a new Excel file. Click on New. Click on Excel Workbook. And this is Excel. If you are brand new to Excel, the first thing I want you to do is ignore everything you see up on the top here. All this stuff. Just forget it's even here. I can't imagine what that looks like if you're brand new to Excel, and if you're not that great with computers in the first place. These are all toolbar buttons, which Microsoft calls the ribbon, and there are buttons here which will do certain things. We are only going to use a handful of these buttons in this class. You can ignore most of them. You also see that there are a few additional tabs. Everything we do will be on the Home tab. We will not have to leave Home. If for some reason you end up on the Insert tab, just click on the Home tab. One other thing you might see that Microsoft has been experimenting with is a simplified ribbon. If you don't see this, if you see a much simpler interface, you might see in this area where my mouse is, a little toggle switch that says Simplified Interface. If that's turned on, click off, and then you should see exactly what we see here. You're more than welcome to use the simplified interface, but that hasn't been rolled out to everybody yet. Plus, this view looks more like the desktop app. So if you have Excel on your computer, feel free to use Excel. This web app is mostly for people who don't have Excel on their computers. We are only going to use Excel as a glorified calculator. We're going to spend most of our time in these little boxes at the bottom. These are called cells, and each one is self-contained. If I type something into this cell, like my name, it goes in that cell. After you type something, you need to hit Enter to get out of edit mode. There. I typed my name, and it stayed in that cell. In the cell next to that, let's type the word Rules. And remember to hit Enter after you type. And we can literally type something into any of these cells here, and there are a ton of them. And they go way beyond what we see here in this view. As I mentioned before, each of these cells is isolated, and you can put whatever you want in there. And you can format things to apply only to that cell. For example, if I click on Mike, and I click on background color, and maybe change that to green. That's only going to apply to that cell with Mike in it. And if I click on the cell with the word Rules, and if I want to change that text color to red, I can click on this, and it'll change to red and apply only to that cell. The other thing you can do in Excel is click and drag to highlight multiple cells, so you can apply the same formatting to both of them. So let's change this maybe to a background of orange, and let's change the text color to white. That kind of behavior with formatting shouldn't be new to you. You probably do this in emails. You probably do this in Word if you use Word. Pretty much most word processing programs or email programs have a way for you to make things bold, to underline things, italicize, change the font type, change the font size. But one of the big formatting differences in Excel is that Excel has a border option. You can highlight the cells you want to put a border around, and you can click this drop arrow, And you can put a border around things, put a border on the bottom, put a border on the top. When you're working with numbers in Excel, let's type $1,000 here. Enter. The 1,000 doesn't look like dollars. What you can do in Excel is highlight the cell and come up here to this dollar sign, click it, and click English for US dollars. Now that number's formatted to look like a dollar amount. Ultimately, Excel is very simple, and you'll see that as we move through the course and have these little mini sessions where I show you exactly what you need to know to move on to the next step in valuing an apartment property. The last two things I'll mention for Excel for Web are that the Excel file automatically saves. There's literally no save button on this. You make a change, it saves it. So keep that in mind. If you're messing around with something, create a copy of it first, then start messing around with it so you don't mess up the original work. And the second thing, this file is saved to OneDrive on the web in a folder called Easy Apartment Analysis. Here are the breadcrumbs that would lead us right back to OneDrive and the folder that contains this file. If you want to rename a file, this one's called Book 1. You can literally come over here, click on it, and type in a new name. I'm going to call this First File. Hit Enter, and there you go. It automatically saved, and we can just keep moving forward. Let's return to OneDrive and make sure that we did in fact change the name. I'm simply going to come over here and click on Easy Apartment Analysis, the containing folder. And there we have it. As we discussed in this video, we're going to use Excel as a glorified calculator. We're going to do some very basic math with it. We're going to keep our work organized, and we'll use some formatting options to assist with that organization or to make it just look pretty. To open this file at any time, just click on it. And that concludes our first Excel lesson.